I get like stagnant with everything that I know and that I'm pretty decent or good at, and adding something new that I suck at is like it's a fun challenge. I think our body stores trauma, and if that's true, then I think we also have the ability to store joy. And so the more joy that you can experience, the more joy you can store in your cell walls. Daily Show, Kimmel, SNL, they were all around that time taking aim at the right. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but there was so much to make fun of on the left.
Tech bros in San Francisco are microdosing psilocybin to empathize each other in meetings.
Oh my God. They're trying to help people heal from trauma. Meanwhile, they're like manipulating girls for naked pictures. That shit happens. Yeah. And people are charlatans and false prophets out there. There's a lot of them. I do what makes me happy and hope other people can benefit from it. I wish more people did what made them happy instead of what made them money or instead of what made their bosses happy. Because I think a lot more people would be happy if that were the case. When and where are we allowed and not allowed to use gender and race?
Yeah.
Is it only to protect people from jokes? That conversation was like wild because here's a guy, one of the funniest writers of all time. He founded an incredible satire site. And I think he's just like disgustingly wrong about this one particular thing.
All right. Brent, thank you for being here.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're excited to have the show. Thank you so much for coming to my home, joining Richard and I for the podcast. I think this will be a fun one.
Cool.
So, hey, let's break the ice here. You've impersonated everyone from Joe Rogan to maybe your mom or something at some point. Who is the hardest person that you have parodied and why?
The hardest person? Man, that's a good question. I think the easiest is Gavin Newsom because I love to impersonate clowns and lizard people. The hardest person would probably be, I did Eminem a while back, and that's hard because you have to, if you're gonna do an Eminem impression, you can't just like do a voice and a face. You have to rap, and you have to make sure the writing is up to par with Eminem, which is impossible because he's the greatest rapper of all time, or one of, and that was tough. I remember writing and just rewriting because I didn't want the fake parody lyrics to sound, basic and easy. Yeah. They had to sound like they had to be metaphors and double entendre and triple entendre and triplets when I deliver. And it was this whole, there's like multiple layers to doing an Eminem impersonation. But I love Eminem, aside from his political beliefs. I think he's great as an artist. And it was tough, but we did it. Yeah.
Well, I saw a clip of him where he was like, it drives me crazy that no one thinks orange doesn't have any things that rhyme with it. And then he just goes off and like rhymes with the word orange for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's insane. He's insane in a good way.
Yeah. So, oh gosh. Good stuff. Yeah.
I've been working on my Bernie Sanders impression. It's the only impression I can do, but apparently it's good. I'm not going to do it now.
Oh, you got to do part of it.
Okay. $2.5 million. That's all the bribes I took. $2.5 million. $25 million from the people. That was his RFK. 1%. $2.5 million. Like, that's $2.5 million of bribes. He was like, no, it's not a bribe. It's like, it's $2.5 million.
Yeah. Insane. What a wild time we're living through.
So, and I know you've touched a lot too, and I know we're tapping in pretty quick here. You have touched quite a bit on psychedelics, and of course, you know that Richard and I are really into breath work and altered states and transformation. How has that personal relationship been for you, and how has it impacted the work you do?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing stand-up for 10 years, video content about the same. Started off in sketch and improv in LA, now live in Austin, and the creative process for me at the beginning, when I was first starting out, I was also first starting to work with psilocybin and microdosing. And throughout the past 10 years, my creative evolution of what I've been putting out has definitely been impacted by multiple things. Psychedelics just being one tool, not like the tool, not my like go-to every day, but just one of many different tools that I've kind of corralled into my arsenal. And I think they've helped creatively. They've helped personally on a personal level. Microdosing psilocybin has been pretty impactful because it's allowed me to just navigate different thought patterns differently while maintaining a sense of self. And then higher dose journeys on different substances have just kind of blown the sky open for me. And on a deep journey with something like ayahuasca or LSD, there's really no more creative, entertaining, hilarious, or terrifying sometimes space than being there in that deep experience. And then, I take that back with me and try to intertwine moments of subverting expectations and surprising people with punchlines or jokes or characters in a way that I've been surprised when I'm deep in those experiences by my own thought patterns or by what is happening around me, depending on the set and setting that's unexpected for me. And I try to mirror that into kind of what I create. Yeah. How long have you been doing psychedelics?
Well, so first substance was ketamine in early 2019. And that was great. That was transformative. It was with Dr. Caitlin Kalstein in LA.
Was it in a?
It was in a clinic above ground.
Yeah.
And then small doses here and there, and then really no big hero stuff until early 21.
Yeah.
Stepping into some other medicines like psilocybin and combinations of drugs and stuff, and that's where it kind of went. That year, 2021, was really the year that I did the most exploration. And then 2022, I stepped into, when we did a podcast together with Paul, stepped into the educational program. Because after that year, it was like, wow, how could this amplify what I do in the health and wellness space? How could this be useful for me? What do I need to learn to help people make the right decisions in the psychedelic space? How to use them to, whether it's enhance their creativity in flow states or heal emotional traumas. So I really wanted to learn how these substances are operating on the brain and what sort of kind of constellation I could help people build around themselves using breath work, fitness, nutrition, and psychedelics as another tool. And so then I did that program for a year. And then, now it's sort of just I'm where I want to be and
cool.
Not really using them as much, but it's quite a journey.
Cool. Do you have a background working with psychedelics?
I do. I won't go into it too much, but I'm more into the breathwork altered states. The breathwork we teach, it puts people in altered states to the same extent as 3 gram dose of psilocybin, according to studies on fMRIs and stuff like that. But I think a question for Brent is about you don't want to do ayahuasca, do you?
No.
Tell us why.
Well, I don't know why I would. Like, I think that I've got kids. My life is stable. I'm not like healing from anything. I'm kind of doing pretty well. I just don't really know why I would go to the jungle in Peru and tap into, talk to my ancestors or tap into the universe, the Earth's most potent substance.
Sure.
Because even with psychedelics, one of the reasons I'm not really using them anymore is like I don't have time to do the homework.
Yeah.
The integration.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, my life is doing pretty well. So that's it.
It's a great reason.
When I have a reason, if I ever, confront something that I can't figure out, or I have an intuitive sense that ayahuasca is what I need, maybe I will. But
it's a
right
great
now,
reason.
I'm just sort of like,
I have never and will never encourage anyone to do ayahuasca ever. That's not my place, not my purpose. It's absolutely not. I do encourage everybody to at least do the bare minimum of research into it, to know what it is, where it comes from, why people use it, and what the experience can give. Because I think that's important. And I think that helps destigmatize not just ayahuasca, but psychedelics in general. I know a guy who does ayahuasca maybe twice a month regularly. And in the way that he does it, it feels like it's kind of abuse. It feels like he kind of likes the high and the rush and the experience. And in my conversations with him over the years, it doesn't seem like he's really coming away with a transformative experience. It seems like he's going to hang out and party in the community that puts on the ceremonies.
Right.
And no judgment, but my opinion would be that that's not the most productive way to work with that substance. And then I have another friend who also is similar to you, didn't really think he had anything to heal or anything to work on, but just was like mad curious.
Yeah.
Super, super curious. Wanted the experience to see what the experience was like.
Right.
And that's a valid reason. And your reason for not doing it, totally valid,
Yeah. Well, I have things to work on, just so you know.
Yeah. I
don't think I don't have anything to work on.
Oh, we know. Yeah, but again, it's like, it's another tool to me. It's not for everybody at all. And I don't think it should create a dependency. I think that's where.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. Is like we've spoken about sort of the excesses of the psychedelic community, the people who, do all this work and then never actually change. So I was kind of going to ask, like, you've done videos making fun of these types of people. I don't know if you say making fun, but you've done videos on this type of thing. Why do you think you need to do those types of videos?
I think there's hypocrisy in. I think hypocrisy can be found in just about every aspect of life, especially when folks are trying to lead the charge on something or claiming to be a leader. There can be a lot of hypocrisy, not in every leader, and not every leader has hypocrisy. Some leaders are really great and really want people to heal and know how to facilitate healing and know what that means. And then other people have one experience and think that they should be a guru now. And they're trying to help people heal from trauma. Meanwhile, they're like manipulating girls for naked pictures. You know what I mean? Like behind everybody's back. And it's like, that shit happens. Yeah. And people are charlatans and false prophets out there. There's a lot of them. And I think it's fun to mock those people while also maintaining the balance of a lot of the work that a charlatan or a false prophet does is real and valid within a different person's effort. And I've had plenty of spiritual experiences, plenty of incredible psychedelic experiences, just had a recent insane breathwork experience I'd be happy to tell you about. So I've seen and felt firsthand the real impact of a transformative experience. And I've also seen and heard stories of motherfuckers that don't want to really that's not their intention. Their intention is like their intention is attention, right? I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to call it out. It gets called out in politics, it gets called out in sports, it gets called out in business. It should be getting called out in this space too, because it's such an intimate space.
Yeah.
And I think luckily those types of people, they let you know they're those types of people by wearing their wide hats, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And introducing themselves by a fake name that they made up last year in Bali.
Yes, the ayahuasca gave them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you've said it on the podcast before, Richard, this idea with psychedelics is when you get the message, hang up the phone. Mm-hmm. And I think that people that are keep going back to, and doesn't, and it happens less with breath work, of course. But I think the whole idea, we had just had a long podcast with my wife about, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And when you're continuously going back to that, alternate realm, oftentimes in many ways, it can be detaching you and making you a less productive member of society here on Earth. Mm-hmm. And that integration process is important to separate those two. But I think a lot of people that are doing the ayahuascas twice a month or whatever, it's like they don't want to come back home. They don't want to come back.
Some people are like that. Some people do need it. I saw this great video recently that was like a visual representation of healing trauma. And it was a glass of red wine, totally full, and they put it in the sink and they turned the faucet on, and the faucet water splashed into the glass of red wine water, and after 10 seconds, the red wine got like a little more pale. After 30 seconds, it got even rosé colored, and after a minute, it started to turn into like full water in the glass, and after like 90 seconds, it was just water. And it was like a really cool representation. I think the video was like 3 minutes long. So it was a representation of like the incremental change that you feel when you're doing real work to heal real trauma.
Yeah.
But I think some people, I won't know a lot because I don't know the ratio, but some people I think become so attached to their trauma that it almost becomes their identity.
Yeah.
So there's this subconscious resistance to heal from it because who would you be without that trauma? And so there's almost an initiative to continue trying to heal without giving yourself a finish line and just continuing to move the end zone further and further away so that you can keep having this thing to work on. That's not everybody.
Yeah.
For sure. That might be the minority.
Yeah.
But it's very real and it does happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how, I've seen it happen with people, but I've also seen like really incredible change happen for people. I work with this organization that sends veterans with PTSD overseas for ayahuasca, 5-MeO-DMT, and ibogaine therapy because they can't get it in the U.S. because the U.S. has priorities that are fucked. But those people, that's real healing through psychedelic medicine and psychedelic assisted therapy. And that's a real wine glass that turns into tap water, right? And at the same time, the opposite end of the spectrum is true. I think there are people that are kind of attached to that process.
Yeah.
And this is that same kind of incentive that's in all of Western medicine. It's in psychotherapy. You know, you go to a psychotherapist and it's like there's no end date. You can just be in therapy for 10 years and the therapist is never going to go, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
Because they get paid for that type of thing. So you've got the individual who's probably being, trying to heal. And then the therapist just saying, no, you need to do more work. You need to keep going. You need another therapy session, another psychedelic experience. So yeah, and it's similar with all medicine. People, doctors don't make money from healthy people. Same with psychotherapists and probably ayahuasqueros.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think the way you've towed that line is great. And I'm curious, like, do you feel like comedians broadly have a role to play right now in the sort of outrage cancel culture? Like, what responsibility do you carry as a comedian in today's world?
Thank you for giving me responsibility. Appreciate it. I think, comedians have been and always will be the one job where like your job is freedom of speech. Your job is to reflect back the mirror at the absurdities of culture and what's happening, no matter who's in charge.
Right.
There's shit Trump is doing that's absurd and ridiculous and insane. And people are mocking him for it. I'm mocking him for some things. Just like I mocked the hell out of Kamala when she was claiming to be 5 different backgrounds with all her accents or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Like comedians have a unique ability to mirror what's happening in society in a way that can disrupt a habitual thought pattern for a regular person,
right?
And maybe inspire curiosity or a different way of thinking for that person so that they can see through bullshit by experiencing the sarcasm or comedic relief that somebody is presenting to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So crazy. I just saw online, now, Tesla is just, people are like, blowing up Tesla.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And there was this person on Twitter that was sharing these posts last night, and all these people that are getting rid of their Teslas and getting Tahoes. And it's like, I thought the environment was the most important thing. Like, it just feels like something that's like, oh my gosh. Sometimes you just see the real world and you're like.
Yeah. Or like Tim Walz on his weird speaking tour the other day was like celebrating that Tesla stock was down, and he was like, it's going down. If I need a little boost, I look at Tesla stock. It's going down every day. Yeah. And he's like cheering
energy pushing.
Yeah, he's cheering for an American company to crash and burn that employs thousands of people and puts a ton of money into the economy and is saving the environment. And he's up there on stage with the phone like, yeah, they're losing. It's so weird. But that's the type of thing to call out and reflect back on is you can despise your political enemies, but why do that at the, and also take aim at like Americans that you're trying to reach and get on your side? It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird time.
Definitely. Yeah. And political divisiveness was one of those key factors that, I don't know if you saw, America is the least happy. I saw that. And they said, political divisiveness. It's like, it's like one of those questions, like, how's that working out for you? It's like, you hate anyone who's not a Democrat, you hate anyone who's not a Republican, and you've got this ideology, and you think it's like the right thing to do, but then you're losing all your friends. You're not speaking to your uncle who raised you and things like that. It's a real shame.
Yeah.
Is there a version of you, a part of you that nobody has seen online that's like, but is a big part of you?
A majority of me people haven't seen online.
Yeah. So who is that person that we don't see on social media?
I don't know. I'm just a guy, I guess. I like playing basketball and cooking food. Who am I? That's not on. On social media, I'm like a character all the time, right?
Sometimes you're not even human.
I'm not even human. I am a lizard person. Yeah. I change into Lady Gaga at night, and then I come back home. Social media and video content and entertainment is what I'm going to be doing forever, TV and film forever. And there's always a different version of somebody that's not on the screen, Do you have any
weird hobby? Do you do magic cards or something?
No.
You have some weird...
No magic cards. I'm trying to learn piano. I'm taking piano lessons on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have once a week for at least 30 to an hour. I'm trying to learn piano.
Where did that come from?
I've always wanted to learn an instrument. It's kind of like with my buddy that just wanted to experience ayahuasca. I want to experience the piano. I think that would be a psychedelic experience. I love the piano. My sister plays. She's really good. I'm always impressed when people play. And it's like a beautiful flow state instrument to me. And I think it'll also help with scoring film and TV as I continue to push a couple of projects down the road. I'll build my own kind of knowledge for music and writing music and producing music. And it's fun. It's fun to learn something new, Yeah. It's like a fun challenge for your brain. I feel like my brain is growing whenever I do a piano lesson because I suck at it, and it's fun to suck at something again. I think people get, or at least I get, like stagnant with everything that I know and that I'm pretty decent or good at, and adding something new that I suck at. It's like a fun challenge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tried to learn the guitar, but I wasn't good at it right away, so I just gave up.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah. I've taken a lot of time off in between lessons, but
it's so good for your brain, and I would think sort of auditory feedback, and you're learning what notes sound like. It's got to be just a totally different part of your brain.
Yeah, it is. I forget if it's left or right, but it is. I feel like my brain just feels stimulated.
Yeah.
Whenever I try to learn it. Yeah.
I see you're drinking water there. Is this water too dry for you?
This water's a little too dry.
Okay.
A little too dry. I did bring my spring water with electrolytes, though. Okay. So I'll be hitting that on the side.
Good.
Yeah. Topo Chico's...
it's dirty.
It's spring water, though, right?
I think so.
It is, yeah.
Well, I read that it did test really high and all sorts of stuff that you don't want in your water.
Really?
Good.
Yeah. Despite it being...
Did it really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, damn. All right. Well...
And, it's a Coca-Cola product.
How can I have any more of that?
It's I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been metals. It might have been a couple of metals.
Yeah, I started getting water from my buddy has a company called Alive Waters.
Yeah. We are subscribed.
You know about it?
Yeah, we have it up in North California too.
Yeah. It's great.
We serve it at events. We didn't the one you came to, but
maybe
they have the the 2.5 gallon jugs just all over the place. But it's a lot of effort when you've got 50 people for 3 or 4 days changing out those 2.5.
Went out real quick.
We needed about 50 of them.
Yep.
Just to get us through half the event. Mm-hmm. We had to have a full timer swapping them out. So I think in 2023 we moved away from it. But tell us about the live water.
I became a water snob a couple years ago when I heard Zach Bush on a podcast talking about how we've restructured the molecular structure of water through our piping systems and modern day plumbing, and we've stripped it of its minerals. and I freaked out. And because I already knew about fluoride and chlorine and all the bad shit that's in water. In LA, if you go to, I think it's ewg.org or something like that.
Yeah.
You can type in your zip code and it'll give you a list of all the toxins and chemicals and pollutants that are in your water. And in LA, arsenic is like 47 times the allowed amount
Yeah.
of arsenic is in your water, which is crazy. But what's crazier is there's an allowed amount of arsenic in your water, right? Like any time,
Nobody's perfect.
One time the amount is like wild shit.
Yeah.
So that was like 5-6 years ago. I started being like super snobby about water. I cut plastic. I cut tap. I cut Brita. Well, I guess I did a Brita for a while, but I cut tap. I cut plastic bottles.
That's like Brita's like the college freshman.
Brita's like
caliber
the gateway
water.
filter.
Yeah.
That's what gets you into like alive water.
Yeah,
there's a
First step.
there's something you could attach to your house. I haven't done this yet, but it filters all the water that comes into your house. My buddy has it. So his showers are clean and drinkable. Every tap, every faucet is clean and drinkable. The day I own a home, I'll probably like repipe the entire thing just to make sure there's nothing on the inside of the pipes that's fucking with the water because I'm insane. But water's crazy. People don't think enough about water. People don't care enough about water. The amount of plastic that's in water is nuts. So I bring a glass bottle of water on flights now too at the airport, and I just say it's medical at TSA, and they let you through. It's a little known secret. Don't tell anybody because I don't want them.
So you
to take
bring a
that
Topo
away.
Chico and call them.
I bring a Mountain
Call
Valley.
it medical water.
Mountain Valley.
I bring Mountain Valley.
And they don't say if you got a prescription, this just looks like Mountain
They
Valley.
can't ask for a prescription because it's.
I have the
HIPAA.
same water, bro.
Yeah. No, they say you can't bring this, and I say, oh no, it's medical, and they usually go, all right, and then they put it in their little fucking thing. They press a button, and then they hand it back to me. Maybe 5% of the time they'll give me grief, but I've never been not allowed to bring it on. Every single time I'm allowed to bring it on.
Wow.
And I'll just say, if somebody like the manager or something will say, hey, this is just water, you can't bring this on. And I'll be like, no, it's medical. And they'll be like, yeah, but you can buy water in the airport. And I'll say, actually, this water has a pH balance and a mineral composition that I require due to a medical condition. And it's not sold in this airport or my destination airport. And the medical condition is, I don't want fucking plastic in my body, dude. So that's what I say.
Is this after you went through the X-ray machine? Just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or right before. It's as I'm going through.
I'm just saying that's another thing we got to worry about, right?
Oh, the X-ray machine. Well, I get pre-checked.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. Yeah. I have pre-checked. And if you're not getting pre-checked, my God, grow up, Joe.
Well, no. Well, I have.
Come on. Okay.
I have it. My wife doesn't.
Oh, Amelia.
And so
grow
like
up.
and then it's
Grow up.
I don't think so. My wife's from Spain. She can't get TSA pre, whereas from
She can get global entry.
she can't.
Why?
She's from Spain. They don't have a reciprocal agreement with the US.
Oh,
So
no.
UK has it.
Well, you got to get her a green card so she can get pre-checked.
Well, yeah, that's on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was for a while though. It was like, well, I would like take all the bags, and
Yeah.
that got to be worse than like anything because then I have like all my kids' stuff, all my wife's stuff, and I was like,
And they're going through the
and
regular
they're going through the
peasant
regular,
line, and you're
I'm
going
through
pre-check.
pre-check.
Dang.
But then it's like, this is
you got to get a
with you
pre-check.
guys.
You gotta
So we got to get the whole family pre-check. But we
It's cheap. It's easy.
once you're,
Fast.
like
it's worth it.
traveling is such a pain in the ass now with like a couple
Yeah.
of kids and
How many kids do you have?
strollers, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but feels like 10.
Yeah. I bet.
And so anywho, but no, water is a huge deal. And you mentioned your house, and this was a huge thing for me too. So after the show, I'll show you in my garage.
Cool.
I've got like before we even stepped foot in the house. So we closed on the house like May 10th. By like May 11th, I had the whole house system. So like the water my kids bathe in.
Oh,
is,
awesome.
like,
Yeah. So you
fully
have it. You have the
drinkable.
whole setup. That's great.
But this might be interesting to you. Is like plumbers now, they don't even know how to weld. They don't even forget carrying a welder and pipes and all that on the truck. They don't even like know how to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so even when you drop $10,000 on a whole house system that's going to get every contaminant out, because there was a couple of on that website, ewg.org or whatever it is, there's a couple of chemicals with like 40 letters. And
Yeah.
it's like 395 times the like not even the acceptable, but just like there's no safe amount, but it's like this much higher than like what we typically see. But then they run the water. Now it's all plastic inside the walls.
Oh.
So then it runs it into PVC. It's apparently like a high grade. It's not doing. But then I had to put filters also at the primary drinking sink.
Right.
Like in the master bath and the kitchen, all that, just in case
it's picking anything up from the PVC.
Yeah, because no one's doing houses with copper anymore.
Is that the best metal? That's the best thing for pipes is copper. Yeah.
Granted, as you said, though, if you buy a house that was built in 1968, I'm not sure, if there's going to be any sort of like stuff going on inside those pipes that's worse than PEX.
Yeah.
PEX is the PVC they use.
Okay.
So yeah, I think nowadays it's just you have to have so much attention to it.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot to worry about.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
You know about receipts?
Oh,
Receipts
yeah.
are the new thing.
The ink, yeah.
Can't touch receipts, dude.
No.
I've been on that wagon for like 20 years.
Have you really?
Yeah, literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Like consciously avoiding
Yeah.
contact with receipts?
Absolutely.
That's
No
why he-
way.
that's why he
Good for
has
you.
2 kids.
Well, yeah.
I'm like a
2
year and a
kids
half
first
in.
try.
So
Yeah.
I got to detox receipts out of my system, dude.
Yeah.
I still wear Lululemon underwear though.
You got to get the NADS, NADS.
Dude, I like work.
Oh, yeah,
out. I
nads
run
are
3
great.
miles
Nads are
every
great.
morning.
Yeah.
Like I got my kids already.
Yeah.
I like this underwear, but it's my, if that gets me, if on my deathbed they're like, he did everything right.
No, it's good. Male birth control is what type of boxers do you wear? For sure.
Yeah. So
That's our form of birth control.
yeah, that's actually a good point. That's why I'm doing it. I'm trying to slow this down. So,
Well, I have heard that, it's kind of majoring in the mind as worrying about like a plastic bottle because supposedly when a car hits its brakes, it just dumps billions of plastic.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's the worst.
You're just inhaling that.
Yep.
Yep. Going straight in there.
Moving out from LA, I felt like we just cleaned our systems from that. Within 3 months, I had less brain fog. I was happier. I was breathing better. I could smell the air. But in LA, I lived in Venice, right on Venice Boulevard, and that's like
lived right down the road from each other.
crazy highway. What part were you in?
We were on right off Abbot Kinney on Noeda.
Yeah, okay.
And then we moved to Cabrillo, 1 block from Abbot Kinney, and then we moved to Noeda right by Lincoln, kind of Venice Boulevard and Lincoln, kind of far in that little nook.
I was right across from Venice High.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I know.
So, but yeah, brake pad dust, dude. It's like it's crazy. And when you live in a city and it's everywhere, you can't see it, you can't smell it, but it's getting in your body. That's like a big part of the credit card per week that people eat worth of plastic.
Well, LA too is just maybe it's because of Hollywood and all this, but it's just staticky.
Yeah.
Staticky.
Static.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. You could just feel it. Like you said, your sense of smell came back.
Yeah.
So like your nervous system, that's a nervous system thing, right? Like if you're stressed out, your body's like, oh, you don't need to smell anything today.
Well, it's like the air in Texas you can smell. The air in LA you can't really smell it because it's like dirty. And the best way I could describe it is when we got to Texas after a couple of months, it felt like I had been living in a pressure cooker in LA. There was a 5G shower right outside my bedroom.
Yeah.
In LA.
Yeah.
There was people yelling all night, helicopters everywhere. I look out my window, I look into somebody else's window. Out here, I look out my window and I see like a roadrunner or some crazy shit. I didn't thought roadrunners were cartoons. I just realized roadrunners is a real thing. Yeah. And so like the ease of living out here on your system is much different and totally noticeable. Yeah.
Yeah. I think LA is just, it's so tough. But that's also just the thing with plastics is that, you can catch a fish in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and it's high in microplastics.
Yeah.
There's plastic on the bottom of the damn ocean.
Yeah, in Mariana Trench.
Mariana Trench. There's cans of Spam in the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
Like running from this, like don't touch receipts, try to drink out of glass. But the other guy, Pampa, he just said that like the beef tallow I buy in a glass jar is like the highest in microplastics.
How?
Because this is the thing. It's all false sense of security because they use it in all the production in the kitchen of every restaurant.
Damn.
Because in Runga events, we don't just cater.
Yeah.
So we hire a chef that has a great reputation that we really like and we pay him what he needs. And then we have all the equipment. We got like 5 different grills. We got all the equipment. We have a full-on restaurant. So we buy all the ingredients. My wife sources all the ingredients. So it's this really incredible thing. But if you go into our kitchen, no chef will cook without like having a million plastic things around.
Right.
Because the volume is so high, you have to just be able to go through this stuff. So even in a really high-end restaurant, that kitchen's full of plastic, and it's the same thing with production lines in these manufacturing facilities. A lot of this oil is in plastic before it gets put in the glass. And so I think microplastics, I think receipts is the big one, and used glass bottles. And, maybe if you haven't had your kids yet, like maybe avoid the polyester underwear. And I do wear organic cotton sometimes, but like if I'm working out and stuff, I'm just like,
Sure.
But also know that it is like, we created this world, now we got to live in it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it's like that Strauss milk, Have you ever had Strauss milk come in
Yeah.
a big glass bottle?
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculously high levels of plastic because
It does?
they're using like a plastic hose to milk the cow.
Oh, damn. Well, I need a new raw milk hookup. If you guys know,
You need one?
I need one. Well, the raw milk we get is only available once a week on a Wednesday. And if you forget to
I used to be in
pre-order,
that
then
club.
you can't get it. It's really good. It's great raw milk. But we need a new one.
And you have to go all the way
Hard.
to...
You got to go all the way to Austin.
Yeah.
There's one in Dripping Springs, but it tastes a little grassy. I don't know. I didn't like the taste. Well, do you drink raw milk?
Well, not anymore. It's just a pain in the ass. So I get my kids the, what is it, Alexandre 2%. No, not 2%.
Is it the orange cap? The cold filtered?
It's not homogenized. It's A2 protein.
Yeah.
Like
that's
flash.
that's the
Pasteurized or whatever. And it's
good
the
stuff.
holiday blend or whatever. So it's like more fat than typical milk.
Cool.
It's like 10 grams of fat per glass instead of 8.
Yeah.
And I've just...
Crazy that raw milk is illegal.
Yeah.
It's nuts. We in LA, that was one thing we could do is just buy raw milk at the grocery store, which was nice.
Right.
But here's like it's like working with the mob. You gotta figure out how to get around all the rules and regulations and shit.
And it's like, oh, you didn't make it by 10:15.
Yeah.
You know,
you gotta know the farmer.
Yeah.
You gotta like say hi to the cow and
Yeah.
make a sacrifice just to get your raw milk.
Yeah, you do. It's a big deal.
Stuff,
It's like World War II rationing.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
And you got to pay in advance. It's like, I remember, it's like $12. Got to have your payment in by like Wednesday at 9. And then eventually
They moved it back. It's Tuesday at 2 now.
Tuesday at 2.
Yeah, if you're not in by Tuesday, you got to wait another
Well, I heard
week,
they went
man.
to cash only too. They're like, now they're worried about taxes or something because of the...
Oh, maybe.
I don't
Yeah.
know. So then
yeah.
it went to
Under
cash.
the table raw milk.
Yeah, it's just like, good God. So,
Speakeasy.
yeah, totally.
speak easy. So,
What do you think about people who use Mercury in retrograde to excuse all of their issues?
The planets are easy to blame. They're easy to blame. Astrology is a wild topic, though, because there's a lot of truth to it, and there's a lot of I don't know enough about it to like properly talk about it, but I don't doubt that the planets are having some type of impact on us. They have an impact on the tides. Why would they not have an impact on our body? But yeah, I do think it's an easy thing to make a scapegoat. Yeah.
I often think about Mercury. He's just sitting up there and being like, "Hey, stop blaming me for everything. I didn't do anything wrong."
I like when we were talking before, with the astrology and stuff. It's like, how come the astrologists and the psychics aren't generally killing it in life? Like, like if you guys are tapped in at that level. Like, you guys should be.
Shouldn't you know the lottery numbers?
Yeah.
Well, there was. I mean, I fell for this with crypto before, like. Years ago, there was a guy who was like a crypto guru, and he was saying the charts are going up like this, and it's doing a W chart, and then there's the S pattern, and so here we're going to go down, and then it's going to go back up. And I realized this is just exactly the same as astrology.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
He was.
I lost loads of money.
Ah.
But I can see people who believe in these like sort of conspirituality type things. They put it into crypto, and they think they can predict the future with it, and then they don't.
Yep. But what's crazy is one person usually does, and then everybody's like, "Oh, so it can work," and that's what keeps people in that cycle.
Yeah. Well, there was a study I looked at where they did. They gave a load of astrologers like people's birth dates, and then said like predict what this type of person was, and they got like a 20% accuracy, which is way less than chance.
Really?
And then the astrologers said, no, well, the study is unfair. Let us design a study.
Oh, boy.
And they designed the study, and it's January 2024. They tried to predict 37 personal facts using individuals' astrological charts, and they, again, could not predict it above chance. And they also thought more experienced astrologers would have better results than people who had just started being astrologers, and they had exactly the same.
Oh, no.
The experienced ones were no better.
Damn.
And they couldn't predict anything.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
I think maybe the one benefit, though, is I think there's usefulness in, like, believing in a higher power, whether it's a planet or just something outside of you.
Sure.
You know, I think the way that some in the sort of new age spirituality, it's like, I'm doing all this. And it's all, I think that's just a massive burden of responsibility.
It is. Yeah.
You know, there was one guy we were having coffee with, and he was literally like, I don't wear a helmet on my motorcycle because I know if I get in an accident, I created that reality in my mind first.
Oh my God.
It's like, bro.
Yeah, I got friends like that.
Like, you got to tune
with their
down the
seat belts or like,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
like there could just be a drunk driver
Right,
too,
right.
that doesn't stop at a red light, you know? And
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I think that's like, that's anxiety. People do not like uncertainty. So instead of just accepting that life is really random most of the time and we don't have as much control as we like, they're like, well, I'm going to believe in, the day I was born predicts the rest of my life, or I'm going to believe that, there are, the planets are affecting my decisions, and there is control. It's just all in the planets. And we just have to accept that life is really difficult and anxiety producing.
And it sucks sometimes. It is maybe fun for some people to get a prompt that they weren't thinking of before when they do astrology or receive some type of reading, and the person is like, you have an opportunity coming up in the next 3 months to make a whole lot of money. And maybe that's what sparks them to be like, oh, I guess I'll start working harder and get off my fucking ass. So maybe there's good things to it too,
Definitely.
Is there a topic you won't touch? Like, or maybe a topic you haven't figured out how to make funny yet, or
there are topics I'm not really interested in. On stage, stand up.
like you want to though, but you're just like, this is like gonna get me canceled.
No, I've never really have that thought. I just in general, I'm not like super edgy.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
If you look at like the edgiest comedians and the people that are talking about the edgiest shit, I'm not really in that group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I definitely toe the line with some things, but our buddy JP Sears will go hard on like trans stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not really my style. I just don't have an interest in it. I got way more other things that I'd rather talk about than poking fun at trans stuff. And he does that and is a very funny guy that makes shit funny in that light. And there's things that I do that he's not interested in, right? Yeah. So it's less skirting away from topics than it is just not having a natural interest in some topics. Yeah. Like one thing I chose not to do was to do an impression of Bobby Kennedy, because I didn't want to do the voice. And if you're going to do an impression of Bobby, you have to do the voice.
Yeah.
And if you do the voice, that becomes the whole impression, and it becomes it grabs the attention of the viewer, and then the whole impression is about the voice, and then that's not. I don't want to do that. I like Bobby. Yeah. If he didn't have the voice issue, I probably would do an impression of him, but I wouldn't want my like satire of him to be taken as like mean, and I think doing the voice would probably come off as mean, and that's not. I would rather like poke fun at some of the things he said that, in a way that he could laugh at too, right? Yeah. So there are things like that just don't really pique my interest kind of naturally, but I've never really shied away from a topic because of how I thought people would think about it. Whenever there's a topic like that and I get nervous about that, it's more like, oh, then I have to do this, Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about punching down in comedy? There's a lot of debate about that.
Yeah. The founder of The Onion I think he was the founder. He did there was an app a while back called Clubhouse, and he was doing a room on Clubhouse where he was talking about like the state of comedy. And this was when was Clubhouse big? 2020, 2021, something like that?
Yeah, for a minute.
So who was president? Joe Biden. And I think people were fresh off of Trump, and like he's a pretty liberal dude. And I asked him a question about like taking risks in comedy and poking fun at politicians and why there seems to be such a huge imbalance in modern comedy where a majority of late night shows and mainstream comedians are making fun of people on the right and holding back from making fun of people on the left.
Yeah.
Daily Show,
Yeah.
Kimmel, SNL, you name the comedian. They were all around that time taking aim at the right. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but there was so much to make fun of on the left. So much. And especially on the heels of COVID.
Yeah.
And I asked him, and I gave the example, I see people mocking Ted Cruz, and that's fine. I'm not the biggest fan, and there's plenty of reasons to mock him, but I don't see anybody mocking AOC, and there's so many reasons to mock AOC. Yeah. And I gave like a couple of those examples, and his answer was something along the lines of, well, Ted Cruz, straight white man in a seat of power in Congress, when you make fun of him, it's you're poking fun at power. AOC, woman, minority, when you make fun of her, you're punching down. And in my mind, I was like, motherfucker, are we not trying to have an equal playing field here?
Yeah.
Are they not both Congress people?
Yeah.
When and where are we allowed and not allowed to use gender and race?
Yeah.
Is it only to protect people from jokes? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So the whole punching down thing to me, from that conversation was like wild, because here's a guy who he's one of the funniest writers of all time. He founded an incredible satire site. And I think he's just like disgustingly wrong about this one particular thing.
Yeah.
But that mindset is probably mirrored by a lot of people in mainstream comedy, and it definitely was at the time. Now I think it's a bit more, it's evening out a lot more with comedians like, JP, Ryan Long, Tyler Fisher, even Nikki Glazer, who never holds back, other people like that. But that was his concept of punching down. My concept of punching down, and it's all opinion based. Everybody's got their own opinion. My concept of punching down in comedy would be when you take aim at someone or something in a way that's intended to actually put them down or lower their status. Right. And I think intention really matters in comedy, and sometimes it's hard to see, and sometimes people will gaslight you and be like, no, I was just making a joke, this is just a joke, but really that motherfucker's racist,
Yeah.
And so it's very hard, and the lines are gray, and the areas are gray. So I think it's up to the performer or the creator to know what their version of punching down is. That's my version of punching down. So I'm not going to do a video making fun of trans people for being mentally ill, because that is punching down.
Yeah.
I do have a joke about Leah Thomas, the biological male turned female identifying collegiate swimmer. And the joke is, after a meet, if somebody's giving her shit, she should just say, hey, I won this meet fair and square, and if you don't like it, you can suck my dick. Right? And that's not really punching down to me. It's kind of just funny, because here's somebody who identifies as female who just won a meet, and if people don't like that, they could suck her dick. And that's so that's an example of what I view as punching down versus just commenting on the funny aspect of a situation.
Yeah. I loved your video with the certified health nut, and you're like,
Oh, yeah,
I've got
Troy.
the testosterone of an elite female swimmer.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, that was adjacent to that bit.
brilliant.
Yeah, cool.
That was actually a hilarious bit. With
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
piss drinking and
Yeah.
those like right.
Troy's great. I love
Oh
Troy.
my gosh!
Yeah, certified health nut
Some
on
of
Instagram.
the things he does on Instagram are just
He's crazy.
He's crazy. I actually that one got me like laugh out loud.
Cool.
Like yeah.
Cool.
And I think I sent it immediately to you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh god.
Awesome.
So like, what does your creative process look like? Right. Like that's brilliant. Like the take on Leah Thomas. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like so when you have like an idea or a joke you want to make, is there like, do you have a whiteboard? Do you like just
It varies.
you in the night?
It sometimes comes to me in the night, and I roll over and type a note into my phone. Usually that's how it is. I'll have an idea and I'll be on the move somewhere and I'll type it into my phone. And then 1 or 2 days a week, I'll sit down with a bunch of random notes in my phone and I'll write them out on the computer. I'll talk them out. I'll walk around my room. I'll put on a wig. I'll talk to myself, whatever. And then I'll just try them out on stage. On stage is where I can get the most immediate reaction and see if people are digging it. And, or I'll pitch it to my girlfriend or a friend and turn it into a video. The internet is kind of an open mic to me. So sometimes I don't know if a video is really going to hit, but hit or miss, it's going to be forgotten within days. So I don't have too much, what's the word when you don't hang on to something with too much thought? I don't have like,
Rumination.
yeah, like I don't get super protective of an idea because I want to keep it fluid, and I know a one-line joke can become a character, can become a stand-up bit, can become a video, can become a scene in a movie. And it's this whole ecosystem in my brain that's just kind of constantly flowing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any?
I was thinking we should do that Brent Pella or made up.
Pella versus propaganda.
Pella versus propaganda.
We have a show outlined here called Pella versus propaganda.
Okay, cool.
Or Pella or propaganda.
Cool.
And the way this works is that I'm going to read a headline, and it might be real or it might be fake, and you're going to guess if it's something you would write or parody, or if it's a real
Okay, cool.
or if it's a real published news story or headline. Something that's unfortunately true, but sadly. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Richard, do you want to make the noise if he's? Oh no, I'll have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So I have to pick which one I ask for. All right. So Pella or propaganda?
Mm-hmm.
Comedian goes viral after getting canceled, uncanceled, and then canceled again for the same joke.
Oh my God. Is that so? If it's propaganda,
Is it
that's
satire
a real news
or
story.
Yes,
Oh my God, is that real? Is that a real one?
that's a real one.
No way. Can you say it again?
Comedian goes viral after getting canceled, uncanceled, and then canceled again for the same joke.
Holy shit! Who was the comedian?
I have to ask. Hold on. It will take me a minute to do some research on.
Okay. We could. You tell me after. That's wild.
TikTok therapist suggests solving anxiety by dancing it out for 30 seconds a day.
That sounds like a real one. Is that a real one?
Yeah. That's
Yeah. I know people that would suggest that in my friend group. Yeah.
New York City rats become immune to poison and may evolve to rule the subway system.
That also sounds real, but it definitely sounds like something I would write too. Is that something I would write? Yeah, that's a Pella. Yeah.
That's like the rat kings. You've heard about those where the rats, like, they live so close together, their tails merge into one and they become like
No way.
a rat king.
Oh my God, dude.
AI generated Jesus gains 1 million followers by preaching via live stream.
Whoa. I feel like these are really good. Is that a real one? That's propaganda.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
The comedian was Louis C.K.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder what the joke was. Probably some slur.
New microdosing app offers a subscription plan for ego death.
Is that a Pella one?
That's Pella.
Oh my God.
That's
also could be real.
Probably will be.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send these to me after so I can work them out into some videos.
Study finds that yelling "I'm manifesting" has zero measurable effect on the.
Is that a Pella one?
It's a fellow one. All right, here's one.
Yeah.
Wellness influencer is hospitalized after attempting a 72-hour ice bath challenge. Pella or propaganda?
Whoa. Is that a Pella one?
It's real.
That's a real one?
That's a real
72 hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. He had no inflammation, though. Zero inflammation. This dude came out ripped.
Yeah. He had no body fat left.
Yeah, none. That's crazy.
All right, a few more. Tech bros in San Francisco are microdosing psilocybin to out-empathize each other in meetings.
Oh, my God. Dude, I might actually make that into a video. Is that a real one?
It's a real one.
Is it real? Really?
Yeah.
What is the news source?
It says propaganda. It's asterisk real-ish, while the exact quote is isn't real. The microdosing trend in tech is very real and has reported, and these cases have been reported in places like The Wire and The Verge.
Okay, I'm writing this down. See, this is the creative process too. Something like that.
Oh, you know what's insane? I had misspoke. The New York City rats one is real.
Really?
New York City rats becoming immune to poison may evolve to rule the subway system. I had the page on the wrong place. Okay, it says real. New York City rats are evolving resistant to poison, and researchers are concerned. Florida man claims ayahuasca told him to run for president.
That's got to be real.
Is that Trump?
Yeah.
That one's fake. That's Pella.
Really?
Yeah, but
That'll happen soon.
but feels 5 minutes away from becoming
Totally.
real. Yeah.
Totally.
All right, here's one this is another tricky one. Netflix announces a docuseries about a man who watches too many docuseries.
Whoa. That's a Pella.
That's Pella.
That's a Pella. Yeah.
I feel like they need to do a docuseries on men who do too many spiritual retreats.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already started that.
For sure. Or a retreat for people who do too many spiritual retreats.
Yeah, recovery.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Recovery.
FDA approves MDMA therapy if you promise to journal about it afterward.
That's a Pella one.
Pella.
That's good.
Pella.
That's good.
All right, there's one more. Mushroom retreat promises to solve all of your problems in one weekend or your karma back.
Or your karma back?
Yeah.
Is that a real one?
No, it's a Pella.
Okay. All right.
Pella.
These are really good. These are really good.
Chat and I came up with them.
Cool. Yeah. Some of these should be videos. Yeah.
Richard, do you have a question for him so I can recover from Pella?
I don't.
Let me ask you a question, bro. You have a background in breathwork.
Yeah.
How long have you been practicing breathwork? And you facilitate?
I facilitate, yeah. So I think I got certified maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Then I was studying psychotherapy and realized it's not that good. So I quit psychotherapy and went to do a PhD in psychology. And then I ran a clinical trial on conscious connected breathwork and its results on anxiety. So that took about 4 years.
Wow.
And since I sort of finished last summer. I've been back teaching CCB, conscious connected breathwork.
Cool. And are you going to do that out here?
Yes.
Like sure. with your own shop?
No, just mainly as part of Runga,
cool.
Part of our 12-week, 90-day intensive, and then, for individuals as well, and corporate events and those types of things.
Yeah, there is a really awesome breathwork community in Austin that I don't know if you've tapped in with them yet.
A little bit.
Cool. Yeah, a good buddy of mine, Steven Jaggers, runs a great breathwork program in Austin.
Oh, nice.
I have done breathwork like in short format settings, prior to a workout, in a cold plunge, in the sauna, meditating. I have my own practice that I do in the morning that's like super duper quick. But I just did my first like breathwork ceremony, a 90-minute experience with Lucas Mack. Do you know who that is? No. He's out of LA. He's become a friend. He works with Jake Paul a lot before Jake's boxing matches, and he has Awaken breathwork, Awaken with an O.
Oh.
And it was a 90-minute experience, and it was like the most intense thing I've ever experienced aside from ayahuasca. Like it was right up there with it. It was all through the mouth.
Yeah.
Holotropic, right?
Yeah, that's a type of conscious connected breathwork. Yeah.
Yeah. They had music. He led it. He didn't talk the whole time, but in the opening he did, and then he guided us back. But there was a long moment, maybe halfway through or a little more than halfway through, where, you know, I had my entire body was high, whole body. Mind was somewhere else, gone. And my hands felt like what, you know, when Iron Man puts his hands up and he has the energy come out. That's what my hands felt like. From my wrist to the tip of my fingers, all of my palms and fingers were shaking like this, like noticeably, like shaking. And I had my eyes closed, but I could feel them.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want to touch myself because it felt like so much fucking energy was coming out of my hands. And I know some people get the claws, some people get that crazy stuff, and I've gotten that on ayahuasca a lot. But this was like energy for minutes coming out of my hands. So much, it felt like the force of two magnets that were like repelling each other. That's what it felt like. That type of energy was coming out of my hands, like strong, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's called paresthesia. That's like when the nerve endings basically become more excitable. But you could also say that's chi. You know, that's what people are doing in Reiki. They're channeling energy and that comes out of their hands and using it to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Kundalini as well.
Chi.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you experienced that before personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely get sometimes it feels like champagne bubbles going through your whole body is often how I feel it. So I mean, what did you get from it? You know, what were the results? Obviously, you got that amazing feeling. You were out of your body. You were in your body.
Yeah.
How did you feel afterwards?
Yeah, it was. It felt like I had plugged back into, you know, this field that we all share energy from. And in the days after, and now it's been weeks, just felt, especially in the days after, you know, it's, for me, a new experience like that will kind of taper and I'll get back into the regular rhythms and stresses of life. But I have other tools. I can't do a 90-minute breathwork ceremony once a week. Shouldn't probably. But it was, when I think back to it, and I've talked about it now and I've integrated the experience, I think back to it and I try to tap back into that feeling, which is part of my process to have a lasting impact of it. I remember what it was like to reconnect. It was like I was plugging back in. And in the days after, things were just lighter. Things moved easier. Stresses didn't hit me the same. Anxieties didn't hit me the same. And I didn't get some crazy revelation. I don't know that that's really the experience for that. So maybe some people do, and that's great. For me, it was much more of kind of a recentering and like a recharging in a way. And also building into my own knowledge of appreciating that spaces and experiences like that exist and can be revisited should I feel called at any time to plug back in and get that charge again and have that experience again. But yeah, the lightness and the ease in the days after were very noticeable.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, so I thought you were going to say, I can't do this every day, but you said every week. Doing it once a week is probably fine.
Once a week is cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
great.
Doing it every day.
Every day is too much.
So good, yeah, because then you've messed with your carbon dioxide sensitivity.
Oh, right,
like that.
right.
But well, that sounds amazing. Yeah. You're going to do it again sometime, you think?
I would, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It was intense.
That's what's so great about it, is because it is so accessible, right?
Yeah.
You got a Saturday that you don't have a lot going on or whatever. You're 90 minutes away from emotional liberation or whatever
God.
you call it, from God, as opposed to like, you know, scheduling a session and doing, you know, in the medicine space, which is also great. But that's one of the reasons we're really trying to get people into conscious connected breathwork, because it is so potent and is so accessible.
Yeah.
And create such incredible transformation. So, you know, we have this 90-day intensive coming up where it's a really incredible 90-day container. And every couple of weeks, we do a 90-minute ceremony like that with folks. And so you've got just a really nice integration program, a really nice prep program, a really nice kind of community.
Yeah.
And then you're hitting that on a regular basis. And across 90 days, we transform people's lives. And so,
cool.
we're really tapping into that that conscious connected breath work. So
Dope.
Yeah, and like everyone's experience is like different every time. Everyone always says, "Oh, I came into this thinking I would get the same as last time," but some people, they have really difficult stuff. They're dealing with childhood stuff, or they're dealing with grief, and they're dealing with their anger, and it's really difficult. And then some people, sounds a bit like what you had, like have these euphoric experiences where they're just like high on life and they're just happy, and they're not dealing with their shadow stuff. It's not like the deepest, darkest time of their life. It can be one of the most amazing and like joyful experiences.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
all right, so
What are you reading over there, Joe?
It's creating this suspense building.
yeah. Well, I was thinking about asking you one more Pella verse propaganda, but I think we'll scrap it. There was a few I didn't go through. So, Brent, if tomorrow everything goes away, your comedy, your characters, your social media, how is it that you hope that you made people feel?
Like if I die,
What was
tomorrow?
your last thing? Maybe you can stay alive. But
Oh,
maybe
thank you.
there's,
I appreciate
maybe
that.
there's a cyber attack or something. Everything goes away, and suddenly we can't, do things the same way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some kind
The
of
apocalypse hits and everybody's
Yeah,
like, all right, what do you do?
But everyone
Like, I
still
do
has a
stand-up.
memory
Like,
of you.
Fuck.
right. What is that emotion that you want to leave people with?
Joy. Everything I do is driven by joy. Try to put more joy into the world. There's not enough. And I just want people to be a little bit happier. And hopefully they can quote a video or two that they saw or a joke that they've heard that I've said, and that can have a ripple effect of just a little bit of joy into somebody else's life. I think our body stores trauma, obviously. And if that's true, then I think we also have the ability to store joy. And so the more joy that you can experience, the more joy you can store in your cell walls. And I'm just trying to put as much of that out as I can.
Where do you think that comes from? Why joy, and why not solving social justice or something?
Because that's boring as fuck. That's so boring.
Yeah.
I care, but I don't have any interest in doing that. My mom thinks I should be a politician. I don't know. Maybe it's just the chemical balance and chemical makeup of my brain. And maybe yours is why you do what you do, and AOC's is why she does what she does. But it's more fun. I'm just doing what I think is fun, because we only got a couple more decades each, hopefully a lot of decades, but it's decades, not centuries. So,
Well, now we can live forever, apparently.
yeah, we'll see.
Follow the right bio.
Brian Johnson. Yeah. You see he broke his ankle the other day?
No.
I think so. Let me make sure I'm
Yeah,
not
dancing.
making that up. Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Dancing.
Messed up his ankle.
Too fragile.
Yeah,
Not
he's
been-
the healthiest man on
Too
earth,
much
but broke his
fucking
ankle.
lettuce. Yeah.
The veganism.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I do what makes me happy and hope other people can benefit from it. And I wish more people did what made them happy instead of what made them money or instead of what made their bosses happy. Because I think a lot more people would be happy if that were the case. But we'd probably have, shitty roads and bad roofs. So there's a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any
All right.
final thoughts, Richard?
Nothing to add.
All right. We got to cut him loose.
Cool. Appreciate you guys.
Brent, hey, thank you for coming over. This is a great
Yeah,
show.
dude. Yeah.
Appreciate
I'm looking
you being
forward to seeing how Runga continues to develop.
Yeah, we're
And
super
rocking with y'all again.
We're super stoked. After the event you came to, we really went back to the drawing board and really wanted to clarify the mission and
Cool.
had to reinvent everything. And so here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Where not the people need to find you. They already found you.
Yeah. So BrentPella.com has tour dates. Pulling back from touring a bit this year, but 2026 will be a lot more.
Okay.
And I'm working on some bigger projects, which I'm super stoked on. So at Brent Pella on Instagram is the best source for that. I post shows there all the time too. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely be doing some spots in Austin, Phoenix later this year, Chicago at some point, and New York.
Wonderful. Congrats, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Brent.
Hell yeah.
Ciao. All right.